Welcome back to the deep dive. I want to start today by setting a scene.
Okay.
It's a scene that I guarantee almost everyone listening has lived through. It might have even happened to you last Friday night.
The universal Friday night dilemma. I know it well.
Exactly. Picture this. It's the end of a long week. Your brain is just fried. The absolute last thing you want to do is chop an onion, preheat an oven, or wash a single dish.
Oh, yeah. You're done.
You are so done. So you flop onto the couch, you pull out your phone, and you open the app. DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, pick your poison.
The modern foraging expedition. Scrolling through the digital forest.
Right. And you're scrolling.
Yeah.
And you're bored. So bored. You're tired of the usual Thai place you order from every single Tuesday. You had burgers on Wednesday. You want something new.
You want a discovery?
I want a discovery. And then suddenly the algorithm blesses you. You see a logo you've never seen before.
The moment of hope.
You see a place called Pasquale's Pizza and Wings.
Pasquale's. Okay.
It sounds quaint, doesn't it? Pasquale's. It
Yeah,
just sounds like a guy. I picture a guy with a thick mustache, maybe a little flour on his apron, tossing dough in the air.
Like a classic local pizza joint.
Totally. It sounds like a family recipe passed down through generations. The logo looks a little artisanal. Maybe it has that, wood-fired oven vibe. So you think, hey, I want to support a local business. Let's give Pasquale a shot.
So you hit order. Of course.
I hit order. 30 minutes later, the driver drops the bag at the door. I open the box. The pizza is fine.
It's just fine.
It's warm. It's cheesy. But there is something nagging at me. It tastes vaguely familiar, like a sense of culinary déjà vu.
A taste you have experienced in a past life, perhaps.
Or a past birthday party. Because, being the curious person I am, and frankly a little suspicious because the crust tasted exactly like cardboard, I decided to do a little detective work.
You went down the rabbit hole.
I did. I pull up Google Maps. I typed in the address listed for this charming Pasquale's Pizza. I zoomed in on Street View, expecting to see a cute little bistro with a checkered tablecloth and maybe a Vespa parked out front.
And what did you see?
I saw a giant beige box of a building with a huge purple sign. I saw a Chuck E. Cheese.
Welcome to the masquerade.
I remember when I first found this out, I felt bamboozled. Pasquale isn't a local chef.
No, he is not.
Pasquale is the name of the animatronic drummer in the Chuck E. Cheese robot band.
That is absolutely correct.
Yeah.
And that pizza wasn't made in a wood-fired oven by a guy named Pasquale. It was made in the exact same industrial conveyor belt oven that is, at that very moment, churning out pies for a 6-year-old's birthday party right next to the ball pit.
This is what we are diving in today. This isn't just about Chuck E. Cheese trying to sell pizza to adults who would be embarrassed to, walk into their store.
No, this is the tip of a massive, almost invisible iceberg.
It really is. We are looking at the world of virtual restaurants. And frankly, it is probably the biggest shift in the economics of food since the invention of the drive-thru.
I would agree with that.
We have a stack of articles, market research, and exposés here that describe a world where the restaurants you see on your phone, they simply don't exist.
Well, not in the way you think they do.
Exactly. Not in the traditional sense.
And it's a story about economics, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But as we dig into these sources, it becomes a story about psychology, about technology, and a little bit of deception.
A lot of deception, if you ask me. So today, our mission is to pull back the curtain on this entire ecosystem. We're going to look at the why. Why are these big chains hiding who they are? We're going to look at the how does a kitchen in a basement pretending to be 5 different restaurants actually, work? And then we're going to ask the big question, does it even matter?
If the burger tastes good, do you care if it came from a ghost?
That is the million-dollar question. Exactly. So let's start with the basics, because when I was reading through the source material on this, I got hit with a ton of buzzwords.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of jargon.
Virtual restaurants, ghost kitchens, cloud kitchens, dark kitchens. Are these all just fancy marketing terms for delivery? Or is there a real difference?
They're often used interchangeably, in the media, but there are some important nuances.
Yeah.
And understanding the names actually helps you understand the entire business model.
Okay, so let's break them down. Let's start with virtual restaurant.
Okay, so a virtual restaurant is the brand. It's the listing you see on the app.
So Pasquale's.
Pasquale's is a perfect example of a virtual restaurant. It exists virtually on your screen, but it doesn't have a storefront you can walk into. It's purely a digital storefront.
Okay, so Pasquale's is the software. It's the interface I'm interacting with.
Precisely. Now, Ghost Kitchen, or Cloud Kitchen, usually refers to the hardware. It's the physical infrastructure where that food is actually being cooked.
The actual kitchen.
The kitchen itself, yeah.
Cloud kitchen is the one that really stuck out to me. It sounds very Silicon Valley, like I'm going to eat a sandwich that's made of data or something.
And that association is completely intentional. The term is a direct nod to cloud computing.
Oh, interesting.
Think about it. How did the internet used to work? If you wanted to launch a website in, say, 1999, what did you have to do?
Oh, man. You had to buy a physical server, a big, loud box. You had to have a room with like special air conditioning to keep it from overheating.
Right.
You had to hire an IT guy to make sure the server didn't, catch fire. It was a whole production.
Exactly. It was incredibly expensive. It was CapEx heavy. That's capital expenditure.
Right.
You had to spend a massive amount of money before you could make a single dime. Then a company like Amazon Web Services, AWS, comes along.
Right.
And they said, look, we'll build the giant air-conditioned server farms. You just rent a slice of our hard drive from us.
And now I can launch a website for $10 a month. I don't need my own server room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, apply that exact same logic directly to food. Historically, if you wanted to sell a burger, what did you have to do?
I had to lease a building, probably a 5-year lease. I had to buy tables, chairs, plates, silverware.
All of it.
I had to hire waiters, a host, a busboy, a bartender. I had to pay for a big, expensive sign out front so people would see me from the street.
That is your server room. All of that is the heavy CapEx. A cloud kitchen is the AWS of food.
Okay. I get it now.
You don't need the dining room. You don't need the waiters. You don't need the sign. You just rent a spot on the grill.
So it's literally infrastructure as a service, but the service is pad thai.
That is the perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
You are renting the capability to cook without all the baggage and expense of a traditional restaurant.
Okay, but then we have this other term that I saw in the sources, and it sounds a lot more sinister. Dark kitchen.
Yes.
Dark kitchen.
It sounds like something out of a dystopian sci-fi novel. Citizens report to the dark kitchen for your daily nutrient paste. It does sound ominous, I'll give you that. But the term dark, in this context, at least originally, just meant dark to the street.
What does that mean?
It means there are no lights on for the public because the public isn't allowed in. If you walked past one, you probably wouldn't even know it was a restaurant. The windows might be frosted over. There's no menu in the window, no happy hour sign.
It's invisible from the outside.
Exactly.
But the sources we looked at, they hint that dark has taken on a bit of a double meaning lately.
It has. And we will definitely get to the controversy later on, the working conditions, the lack of transparency. But initially, it just meant invisible. It meant that the lights of the dining room were off, but the kitchen inside was firing on all cylinders.
Okay, so we know what they are. We have the terminology down, but I really want to understand the why, because I'm looking at these profit margins in our notes here, and they're significant. Why is this exploding right now?
To understand why this is just blowing up, you really have to understand the brutal economics of a traditional restaurant.
I've always heard that restaurants are a terrible business.
Right.
Just a super high failure rate, razor-thin margins. My parents always told me, don't open a restaurant unless you really hate money.
They're not wrong. The margins are typically somewhere between 3% to 5%, if you're lucky.
That's nothing.
It's nothing. I mean, if you are running a very tight ship and the single biggest killer, the number one cost,
Let me guess. Rent?
real estate. Absolutely.
Because you have to be where the people are.
Right. If you want to sell expensive burgers and have people sit down and eat them, you need to be on Main Street. You need that corner location with the big windows. You need foot traffic.
And the landlords, they know that.
Oh, they know that. And they charge a massive premium for that visibility.
You're paying for the eyeballs. You're paying for the sidewalk.
You are. Now imagine you're a virtual restaurant. Do you need to be on Main Street?
No, because nobody is walking in. There's no door to walk into.
Exactly. The only person who needs to find the door is the delivery driver. And they have GPS. So where do you put your kitchen?
I guess anywhere. Literally anywhere with a gas hookup and a roof.
You put it in the industrial park on the edge of town. You put it in a basement. You put it in a converted parking lot behind a gas station. You go wherever the rent is dirt cheap.
So your rent, your biggest single cost, drops from, say, $10,000 a month on Main Street to maybe $1,000 a month in the dark location.
At least. And then you strip away the labor. No host, no waiters, No busboys, no bartender standing there polishing glasses.
You just need cooks. That's it.
You just need the people actually making the food.
But here's the kicker, and this is the part that really stood out to me in the reading. The price of the food doesn't drop.
No, not at all.
If I order a burger from the fancy bistro on Main Street, it's $15. If I order a burger from the ghost kitchen in the basement next to the tire factory, it's also $15.
Because on the app, they look exactly the same. The photos are just as glossy. The description is just as delicious. You, the consumer, you're paying for the idea of the restaurant, not the physical reality of it.
So the operator is keeping that difference, that massive difference in cost. That is pure profit arbitrage.
It's a brilliant efficiency play. The source material we have mentions a facility in Cologne, Germany, and it describes the entrance as having, barely any signage, just a small buzzer for drivers to press.
But inside,
It's a hive of activity.
and this brings up the WeWork comparison. I saw this in our notes.
It's a very, very apt analogy. In a WeWork, right, you have a freelancer, a small startup, and maybe a corporate team, all sharing the same coffee machine and the same printer.
Right, shared infrastructure.
In a ghost kitchen, you have what they call the single kitchen format.
Meaning one kitchen, multiple restaurants?
One physical room,
Yeah.
one line of cooks. But on the app, that one room is listed as a sushi place, a burger joint, and a Thai spot, all at the same time.
Wait, hold on. Is it the same cook? Is the guy who's flipping the burger also rolling the maki?
In some of the models, yes. Absolutely. They call it cross-utilization of
This
labor.
is cross-utilization.
If you have a good line cook, they can follow a recipe for a quesadilla just as easily as they can follow a recipe for a grilled cheese sandwich. The ingredients are prepped, the station is set up. It's just a different set of instructions on an iPad.
That is wild. So I'm picturing, 3 different chefs in 3 different authentic kitchens sweating over their specific craft. And it's actually just one guy named Steve in a windowless room looking at 3 different iPads.
That is the reality of many of these places. And it creates incredible, almost unbelievable flexibility.
It feels like this just exploded overnight. I really feel like I didn't even hear about this 5 years ago, and now it's everywhere. Was this just a COVID thing? Did the pandemic create this?
COVID was the gasoline, but the fire was already burning. It was an accelerant, not the cause.
So who started it? Who was the first person to say, hey, we don't need tables, we don't need chairs?
The pioneers in this space are generally considered to be a company called Rebel Foods.
Rebel Foods sounds like a faction from Star Wars.
They're based in India, actually. And they launched their first cloud kitchen way back in 2015.
2015, that's really early.
It is. But the really interesting move, the burn the ships moment for them, was in 2016. They looked at their books, at all the data, and they realized something pretty profound.
What was that?
Their dining rooms were losing them money. The actual restaurant part of the restaurant was a liability.
The part that makes a restaurant was the problem.
That's amazing.
It was an anchor holding them back. So they made a really radical decision. They closed all the dining rooms. They went 100% cloud.
In 2016. That's years before the pandemic forced everyone else to do it.
Years. It was truly visionary. They saw 2 big societal shifts happening. One was urbanization.
Right.
Cities are getting denser. Traffic is getting worse. People don't want to drive to a restaurant after a long day at work, try to find parking, wait for a table. The friction was getting too high.
And the second thing.
Increasingly busy lifestyles. Or, if you want to be a little more cynical about it, you could call it the laziness economy. I prefer the efficiency economy, thank you very much. But no, I get it. We got used to streaming movies at home instead of going to the theater. It makes perfect sense that we'd want to stream our dinner instead of going out to the restaurant.
Exactly. And in the United States, that shift from on-premise dining to off-premise dining was already climbing steadily year after year. The line on the graph was going up and to the right.
And then?
March 20.
And then the world just stalks.
Dining rooms become illegal. You literally cannot open your doors to the public.
If you were a traditional restaurant owner in March of 2020, you were staring into the abyss. You have rent to pay, you have staff to pay, and you have 0 revenue coming in. It was an extinction-level event for many.
So the ghost kitchen model went from being a cool experiment for a few companies to being the only life raft in the middle of the ocean.
Precisely. It became a survival mechanism. If you're a big chain like Applebee's and nobody can come sit in your booths, you have a giant kitchen sitting there, totally idle. You have cooks on the payroll. You have a freezer full of food. So you start spinning up ghosts. You start inventing brands to put on the delivery apps.
This is where the creativity and, you could argue, the deception really ramped up. This is what the sources call the masking phenomenon.
This is my absolute favorite part of the deep dive. The names, the branding. It's like playing a game of Guess Who with your dinner.
It's fascinating marketing. It's almost psychological warfare against the consumer.
But before we list them, let's talk about the why again, specifically for these big chains. Why does a company like Applebee's need to hide? Everyone knows Applebee's. It's a massive brand. It's in every suburban neighborhood. Why not just sell Applebee's wings on Uber Eats?
The simple answer is brand baggage.
Baggage.
Think about it. If you're a 22-year-old, scrolling through DoorDash at 11 p.m. on a Saturday night, and you see the name Applebee's, what do you think? What's your immediate association?
I think suburban family dinner. I think my aunt's birthday party where all the servers come out and sing.
Right. Do you think cool, spicy, trendy late-night snack?
Definitely not. No.
Oh, that is the baggage. Applebee's has spent 40 years and billions of dollars building a very specific brand image. That image works great for families in the suburbs at 6 p.m. It works terribly for Gen Z in the city who want something cool at midnight.
So they create a mask, a whole new identity.
They create a new brand from scratch that is specifically designed to appeal to that late-night scroller without the uncool vibe of the parent company attached to it.
It's a clean slate. You get to be the new cool kid on the block without actually changing a single thing in the kitchen.
Precisely. It's brand arbitrage.
Okay, I want to play a game. I've got the list from our sources here in front of me. I'm going to name the ghost brand, the virtual brand, and I want you to tell me who's really behind it, and this is the important part, why they chose that specific mask. What's the strategy behind that name?
I am ready. Let's do it.
Okay, we already covered Pasquale's and Chuck E. Cheese. The strategy there is pretty clear. Hiding the mouse.
Correct. Selling adult-ish pizza to adults who don't want to admit they're eating food from a children's entertainment center.
All right, next one, a big one. Cosmic wings.
Ah, yes. Cosmic wings. This is a great example.
The name sounds trippy. Psychedelic, even.
It does, and the menu reflects that. It features wings covered in Cheetos dust, both the crunchy and the flamin' hot kind.
Cheetos dust. Okay, so who is making these psychedelic Cheetos wings?
That would be Applebee's.
Applebee's. Okay, break down the strategy here. Why cosmic? Why Cheetos?
Look at the target demographic. Who is ordering delivery late at night? Who loves snack foods like Cheetos? Who might be attracted to a name like Cosmic?
Are you suggesting they are specifically targeting people who might be under the influence of certain recreational substances?
I am saying they are very clearly targeting the munchies demographic.
The stoner strategy, that's what it is.
Effectively, yes. It's a textbook case of market segmentation. Applebee's is for your parents' dinner. Cosmic Wings is for you and your friends at 1 a.m. after a night out.
And it's the exact same chicken.
It's the exact same fryers and the exact same chicken, but they are selling it into two completely different worlds. It's brilliant. I should also mention they also run a safer one called Neighborhood Wings, but Cosmic was the real breakout hit.
Okay, that's incredibly smart. Next one, the Burger Den.
That one belongs to Denny's.
Denny's, okay. The Burger Den. It's a little on the nose, isn't it? A little obvious.
It is. But think about Denny's brand perception. What is Denny's famous for?
Grand slams, pancakes, breakfast, specifically a drunken breakfast at 3 a.m.
Exactly. Breakfast. Now, if it's 7 p.m. on a Wednesday and you want a high-quality burger for dinner for your family, is Denny's the first name that pops into your head?
No, not at all. I feel like Denny's at dinner time is a little sad. No offense to Denny's.
Precisely. They have the ingredients. They have the flat-top grill. They know how to make a burger.
Yeah.
But the brand prevents people from ordering dinner from them.
So the Burger Den unlocks the dinner crowd for them.
It allows them to compete directly with brands like Five Guys or Shake Shack on the delivery app, which Denny's could never ever do under its own name. They also have one called Meltdown for patty melts and other sandwiches. Same strategy.
Okay, here's one that I think is genuinely hilarious. Hootie's Burgo Bar.
Chuckles. Yes. This is, of course, owned by Hooters.
Now, Hooters has a very specific brand asset, a very famous one.
They do. The orange shorts, the tank tops, the whole atmosphere.
Right. Now, the food at Hooters, the wings specifically, is actually pretty famous. People genuinely like the wings. They have a following.
They do. It's considered good bar food. But think about the friction of ordering Hooters for delivery in certain contexts. Let's say you are at a corporate lunch meeting. You're in charge of ordering food for the team. Can you order Hooters?
Absolutely not. You cannot have a bag with the Hooters owl and the big orange font sitting on the conference room table. HR would have a field day.
Exactly. Or maybe you're a family with kids at home. You want the wings, but you don't really want to explain the brand to your 8-year-old son or daughter.
So Hootie's Burger Bar is basically incognito mode for Hooters.
It creates a safe, sanitized way to access the product without the social stigma or awkwardness of the parent brand. It completely sanitizes the transaction. They also operate Hootie's Bait and Tackle and Hootie's Chicken Tenders.
That is just fascinating. It's decoupling the food from the experience. Usually restaurants say the experience is everything. And Hooters is basically saying, actually, for this specific customer, our experience is a liability, so let's hide it.
Precisely what they're doing.
Okay, let's rattle through a few more of these because the creativity here is just endless. How about conviction chicken?
That is TGI Fridays.
Conviction chicken, like you're convicted to eat it, or it's criminally good.
Or perhaps they are convicted to serving great chicken. It's a bold name. You have to give them that.
Okay, how about Fresh Set or the Wing Dept?
Those are both operated by Red Robin. They also run one called Chicken Sammy's.
Everyone loves a chicken sandwich. It really seems like chicken is a huge theme here. Wings, tenders, sandwiches.
Chicken wings and sandwiches travel really well. They hold their heat. They don't get soggy too quickly. They're perfect for the delivery model. A steak, for example, does not travel well.
That's true.
It gets cold, the texture gets tough. So you see a lot of these ghost brands focusing on finger foods and things that can survive a 20-minute car ride.
Speaking of chicken traveling well, here's one that I remember seeing in the news because it was just so strategically clever. Thigh Stop.
Ah, yes, Thigh Stop. This was a Wingstop creation, and it's a masterclass in supply chain management.
Now, Wingstop is already a cool brand. They don't have that uncool dad problem like Applebee's or Denny's. So why would they launch a ghost brand?
This wasn't about branding. This was purely about survival. Do you remember the great chicken wing shortage a while back?
I do. It was a dark time for America. Wing prices went through the roof.
They skyrocketed because wings are a finite resource. A chicken only has 2 wings,
Right.
but it also has 2 thighs.
And in America, nobody really wants the thighs as much. They want the white meat.
Exactly. In the U.S. market, thighs are significantly cheaper than wings. So Wingstop was facing a massive margin crisis. They couldn't sell wings profitably anymore, but they couldn't just stop selling wings. Their name is literally Wingstop.
If Wingstop stops selling wings, they're just stop, which is not a great name for a restaurant.
Exactly. So what do? They launched Thigh Stop, a virtual-only brand dedicated to crispy chicken thighs using the same sauces and recipes.
That is brilliant. Just brilliant.
It allowed them to shift consumer demand. They marketed the heck out of Thigh Stop to get people to try and buy the cheaper cut of meat, which relieved the pricing pressure on their wing supply, all without confusing their core customers or changing their main brand.
So it's supply chain management disguised as a hip new restaurant.
It is. And the beauty is, once the wing shortage eased up, they could just delete the brand.
Yeah.
Or keep it. It's just software. It's totally flexible.
Okay, a couple more quick ones. Thrilled cheese.
That would be IHOP. They also run Super Megadilla for quesadillas and, pardon my cheesesteak.
IHOP doing quesadillas. Super Megadilla. That sounds like something a 14-year-old boy came up with.
Well, again, think about it. IHOP is the International House of Pancakes. It's incredibly difficult for them to sell dinner. These brands allow them to utilize their giant flat-top griddles, which are perfect for making quesadillas and cheesesteaks during the evening hours when almost nobody wants pancakes.
It's about asset utilization, keeping the kitchen busy.
100%.
And lastly, what about rotisserie roast?
That one is Boston Market, which makes perfect sense, as rotisserie chicken is their core competency.
Yeah.
It's not much of a mask, but it's still a separate digital entity.
Now, is this just an American thing? Are we the only ones being tricked by all these creative names?
Oh, not at all.
Okay.
The source material is very clear that this is an international phenomenon. In Canada, for instance, there's a chain called the Pickle Barrel that operates a ghost kitchen called Dirty Dogs.
Dirty Dogs. Okay.
Classy. And in Brazil, Outback Steakhouse, which ironically is an American company themed after Australia, operates a very successful virtual brand called Aussie Chicken.
Wait. So Outback Steakhouse, an American chain pretending to be Australian, operates a ghost kitchen in Brazil called Aussie Chicken.
The layers of branding and globalization are quite dense, yes.
Yeah.
It is truly a world of globalized confusion. They also do this in the U.S., by the way, under the name Tender Shack.
This whole thing leads me to the tech side of this, because what you just described with Wingstop Spinning up a brand to solve a supply chain problem, that sounds like something a software company does. We have a bug in the code, let's push a patch.
That is the third big takeaway here, and it's a crucial one. These aren't just restaurants anymore. They are data companies that happen to sell food.
Explain that. How is a guy frying chicken in a basement a data company?
Think about the data feedback loop in a traditional restaurant. The owner knows what sold well that night because he sees the empty plates in the sales report.
Right.
But he doesn't know why someone didn't order the steak. He doesn't know how long they looked at the menu before deciding. He has very little data on customer behavior. But on an app, everything is tracked. The scroll depth, the click-through rate, how long your thumb hovered over the spicy option before you tapped on mild. Every single interaction is a data point.
So they are A/B testing my dinner in real time.
Constantly. This brings us to the concept of beta testing for food.
In the old world, if I wanted to try a new restaurant concept, let's say I
Yeah.
want to open Paul's Spicy Tacos, I had to take a huge, massive risk.
A huge risk. You have to sign a 5-year lease. You have to buy a neon sign. You have to paint the walls green. You have to hire staff. If it turns out nobody in your neighborhood likes spicy tacos, you go bankrupt.
But with a ghost kitchen,
With a ghost kitchen, you just design a logo in Canva and upload a PDF menu to Uber Eats. If nobody orders Paul's Spicy Tacos in the first 2 weeks, you just delete it. Poof, it's gone.
and the next week you launch Paul's Mild Burritos.
Exactly. Zero construction cost. Zero lease-breaking fees. It brings the fail fast, fail cheap mentality of Silicon Valley directly into the kitchen.
So we could see a world where menus are totally dynamic. Like if a snowstorm hits, the app automatically spins up a virtual brand called Cozy Soups for 24 hours.
We are already seeing that.
Yeah.
If a certain ingredient or recipe goes viral on TikTok, like, say, that feta cheese pasta thing from a while back at Ghost Kitchen Network can have a viral feta pasta brand live on DoorDash in 24 hours. A traditional restaurant with printed menus and a static brand simply cannot move that fast.
It's agile development, but for food.
It is.
Yeah.
It's our sources called data-driven dining. They track the feedback, the star ratings, the wait times, and they can adjust the menu instantly based on that data. If an item gets bad reviews, they can just remove it from the menu mid-service.
Okay, so far this sounds kind of amazing from a business perspective. It's efficient, it's cheap for the owner, it gives me, the consumer, exactly what I seem to want when I want it. But we have to talk about the flip side.
We do.
Because the sources use some pretty grim language when they describe the reality of working in some of these places.
We do need to address the dark side of the dark kitchen. And this is where the term stops being about street lighting and starts being about ethics and transparency.
The descriptions in the articles we read: cramped, windowless, unpleasantly hot.
Imagine working in a shipping container or a basement with no ventilation windows. You are standing over a deep fryer for a 10-hour shift. But unlike in a normal kitchen, there is no release. There's no connection to the outside world.
What do you mean by that?
In a normal restaurant kitchen, it's hot and stressful, yes.
Yeah.
But you can hear the buzz of the dining room. You see the servers coming in and out. Most importantly, you see the empty plates coming back, which means someone out there enjoyed the food you just cooked. There is a human connection, a sense of purpose.
In a ghost kitchen.
It is just a tablet that screams at you. Ping, order, #455. Ping, order, #456. A delivery driver in a motorcycle helmet shoves a phone in your face, grabs the bag, and leaves without a word. You never see the person who is eating the food. You're just a manufacturing node in a logistics network.
It turns the craft of cooking into an assembly line. It turns the chef into a factory worker.
That is a very common critique, that it strips the soul and the art out of the culinary arts. And there are real concerns about working conditions because these places are hidden from public view. No customers walking in means less scrutiny, less pressure to maintain a certain standard of cleanliness or safety.
And then there's the other dark side, the deception aspect, the transparency.
This is a big one. The sources we looked at highlight a specific case study in the UK from back in 2019.
What happened there?
Two big corporate restaurant operators, the Restaurant Group and Casual Dining Group, they faced significant public backlash.
And what were they doing?
They were caught operating several virtual brands that were selling the exact same food as their high street chain restaurants, but they were marketing it as if it were from a new, independent, local business.
That's the betrayal we talked about at the very beginning with Pasquale's. It's the feeling of being tricked.
It raises a real consumer rights issue. Do you, as a consumer, have a right to know who actually made your food and where it came from?
I feel like I do. If I'm buying something marketed as grandma's organic artisanal granola and I find out it's actually made in a factory by a subsidiary of a massive chemical company, I feel lied to, even if the granola tastes exactly the
It's
same.
been called culinary catfishing.
That's a perfect term for it. And it's all enabled by the delivery apps. The apps are the accomplices in this whole scheme.
They are the platform, and frankly, they benefit from the illusion of choice.
Right. If I open the app and I see 50 different restaurants in my area, I think, wow, what a vibrant, diverse food scene. But if I knew that it was actually just three big kitchens wearing 50 different hats.
The app looks a lot less valuable, doesn't it? One of the sources mentions that a single 6,000 square foot kitchen can produce Italian, Thai, burgers, and sushi. To the algorithm, that's 4 distinct choices. In reality, it's just one place.
It's the illusion of diversity. It's a monoculture that's disguised as a rainforest.
That is a very profound way to look at it.
So where is all of this going? We've got Pasquale serving us pizza, we've got stoned people eating Cheeto-dusted wings from Applebee's, and we've got chefs working in shipping containers. Is this the future of how we eat?
The sources seem to point to 3 main takeaways for the future, 3 trends that are very clear.
Okay, lay them on me.
First, the efficiency play is absolutely here to stay. The brutal economics of commercial real estate are not getting better. Rent is high. Labor is expensive. The math of the ghost kitchen just works too well for the industry to ever go back.
So we're going to see fewer traditional dining rooms and more of these delivery-only warehouses.
I think that's inevitable.
Yeah.
Second, the marketing play. We will see more masking, not less. Big brands have now realized they can be anyone they want to be on the internet. They will not give that power up.
So expect more Hooties and less Hooters on your delivery app.
For sure. And finally, the data play. Food will become more and more like software. Faster updates, more personalization, and more algorithmic menu design based on real-time trends and feedback.
It's a little exciting and also a little dystopian, all at the same time.
Like most disruptive technology.
So here's my final thought for everyone listening tonight. The next time you are on your couch, doom scrolling on a Friday night, starving, looking for something new, and you see a cool logo for a place you've never heard of before,
Do a little detective work.
copy that address from the app, paste it into Google Maps, and hit Street View.
See where your dinner is actually coming from.
And ask yourself, is this a charming local bistro? Or is it a ghost? And then you have to ask yourself the really hard question. If the fries are hot and crispy, do I even care?
That is the question that is going to define the next decade of the food industry.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you next time.